defensive team, every defensive opponent is designed to stop, a Durant or Irvin or Harden. And what these players have been able to do over a period of years is be able to outwit the defense every single time. Just as when Kansas goes into a game or I went into a game, you knew that you were playing against a defensive scheme that was designed to stop you. Well, these three guys know how to score, but intellectually they understand how to read and break down every defense that's been designed to stop them. So having those three to collectively out on the floor together is going to be impressive, not only to watch from a skill standpoint, but also from how defensive schemes will try to stop them and how they will counteract it with their basketball IQ.
Isaiah, though, I think you left one thing out. That's the Nets could actually use Candace Parker to play some defense for them because Orlando looked like a powerhouse of the offensive end. I mean, you might be able to.
Well, I'm a person that can speak anything is possible because at the beginning of my career, nobody would have thought, Isaiah included, that I would have been mentioned anywhere near defense. So anything is possible, Brooklyn. They do have to start playing defense, and I think that is a huge thing on the other end of the floor. Offensively, they're going to be able to score, so they're going to be able to set their defense. And I'm a firm believer in defense affecting offense and vice versa. But they're going to score a lot of points. So they're going to be able to get back and set their 5 defense back in transition, but they are going to have to stop somebody.
Well, right before we went on the air, you spilled your tea everywhere. Do you want to spill some actual tea? And you're a free agent, so, I mean, why don't you just say
Zeke,
you're
that's what we're doing right now? Yeah. That's what we're doing? This is NBA. We're talking NBA here.
I mean,
hey. That's why that shield and that glass is up there, Candace. Not necessarily for COVID, but to ignore that question.
All right, let's broaden this a little bit. We're talking Nets. We've got the Knicks on our air coming up in a little bit. Full disclosure, I grew up in northern New Jersey as a hardcore Net fan. I was one of 10 people in the building every night. I understand, and my parents at home who are hardcore Net fans understand. The landscape of New York will never.
Well, what I've come to understand and actually love about the Knicks fans is that they are passionate and they are loyal. And no matter how great the team is in Brooklyn, Knicks fans will watch, they will enjoy it, but will they ever become true fans of the Brooklyn Nets? That just won't happen. This is a fan base that, again, I've come to admire because throughout all the losing seasons that they've had and some that I've been a part of, their passion, their loyalty, they come to the game, they show up every night, and they root for their team, and it really is ingrained in their family. And there is a Knicks culture that I just don't think is going to go away. So Brooklyn and the Nets are in the process of developing theirs, but this Knicks fan base is rock steady.
Jared, well, first and foremost, I don't know how you're going to go home after what you just said today to New Jersey. How do you go back to the East Coast? But anyway, that's beyond.
I'm still on the East Coast.
But I'm saying, how are you going to go back there? After what you just said,
listen, it's true. It's all facts. I'm spitting facts here.
That's good. It's about truth now. I get it. But at the same time, I like to make the metaphor. Dallas Cowboys haven't won. I'm a Bears fan, so I can say this. It's heartbreak city being a Bears fan, but Dallas Cowboys are still America's team. And they have not won a Super Bowl.
Are they though?
I see a lot of Dallas Cowboy hats in the airport in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just because, there's not a lot of Falcons fans in Atlanta. But I use this example of, I don't think it'll ever be New Jersey Nets town. But I like being the Grinch.
Right.
I like spoiling things. And I think KD, Kyrie, and...
So we mentioned that triple-double in the short list of having a triple-double in a team debut. Also not listed there, Russell Westbrook this season with the Washington Wizards. But GA, 14 assists, most ever in Nets history in a debut. Just as a facilitator, show us how he was so special in his first game in Brooklyn.
That's the beauty of James Harden. We think so much about his ability to score the basketball, but he's equally adept as a facilitator. I think he's one of the 5 best passers in the game. He is so incredible in the pick and roll. Sometimes that gets lost. Very similar to what we saw with Anthony Davis. There was so much about maligning him for not wanting to be in New Orleans that we forgot about the brilliance of the ability. And I think that's the same with James Harden. I think this is a perfect situation. Now, I will say this. They are atrocious defensively. As a team, that's an area that's got to be a major concern for them because this was a night when they were on. There are going to be nights, even for great players, where you don't shoot it as well, and you're going to have to be able to defend. And to go up against an undermanned Orlando team and give up 115 points, that's probably not the best recipe for long-term success for this Nets basketball team.
Well, that is a point that we're going to have to pay attention to the entire season, especially when they face other contending teams. And if they are going to be a contending team, Sam, then it's going to take James Harden and Kevin Durant playing well together. Sure looked good in this first game.
Yeah, they did, man. I mean, look, it's going to take them a while to figure out where each other likes the ball at and the space on the floor. But James Harden just fit right in. And you got to remember, he and KD started off together. GA said it, the defense. They're going to have to figure out how to play defense because that team in the Western Conference, the Los Angeles Lakers, we know when they put their mind to it, they're the best defensive team in the league. So the Nets, as great as it was for an opening debut for James Harden, they're going to have to figure out as time go on how to improve their defense.
You know, one key point you said, Sam, as time goes on, and GA, we all expect Kyrie Irving to be back into the mix. And James Harden said something very interesting the other day when he spoke as a member of the Brooklyn Nets for the first time. And he said, I'm willing to sacrifice. I think he was saying more from a scoring perspective and be a facilitator. I think that's what we saw in the first half. Is that me taking a little bit too much of a leap, or is that how this works with this group?
No, I think, and we get this conversation, people always forget, these aren't low IQ basketball players. These guys have tremendously high basketball IQ. They said the same thing about James Harden when Chris Paul went there. Two ball-dominant players, they can't play together. They won 65 games, and probably but for a hamstring injury to Chris Paul, they would have made it to the finals that year. They were up 3-2 in that series when he went down. They said the same thing when they had Westbrook come to Houston, and those two were able to coexist. Now, the team wasn't good enough to compete for a championship, but those two were able to make it work. Similarly with these two, and when you add Kyrie into the mix, again, these are all very efficient basketball players. They're all great shooters, and they're all comfortable playing with great players. You've seen it with Kyrie when he was with LeBron. You saw it with Durant when he went to Golden State. And so I think because of their style, Durant is a catch-and-shoot guy. He's not a ball-dominant guy. He can get his like tonight. You don't even notice he had 42. I mean, it was easy for him, and that's how he scores. He doesn't pound the ball a lot. Kyrie can also be a catch-and-shoot guy. And I think if those guys buy into winning, they're still going to have to play well and score, all three of them, because they don't have a lot of other guys that can consistently create their own offense. They're going to be reliant on that trio. So it's just a matter of can they fill out their roster? Can they get enough defense? Can they get enough rebounding and spacing? With Joe Harris, that helps. Those are going to be things we'll find out as the season progresses. And can they stay healthy, both physically and mentally, as we see what's going on with Kyrie Irving right now?
Yeah, Kevin Durant has been playing a lot of minutes for the Brooklyn Nets, coming back from that Achilles injury, and that's something that we should always monitor when a player's coming back from an injury like that. Another team I want to take a look at is a game that's in progress right now that we're going to go to in a few minutes. Memphis Grizzlies and the Philadelphia 76ers. Some interesting things happening with those two teams. So, Sam, when I look at Philadelphia, Joel Embiid out tonight and also out the next game with a knee injury. How concerned should the 76ers be, and how do they adjust when he's out of the lineup? Currently, they're trailing by 5 to the Memphis Grizzlies.
Well, they got to be concerned. Joel Embiid was playing at an MVP level. When you look at how
chooses. Allow me to introduce myself indeed. First 30-point triple-double in a team debut all time. 7th player with any sort of triple-double in a team debut all time.